Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Four podcast. Huge week this week for all three teams. We're going to start off with Michigan, like we always do.
No, all right. All right. Let's get started here. Absolutely. Okay, first of all, I'd like to tell everybody that I do not associate with these biased slides that were made this week.
Actually, a third party makes the slides. So.
Right. Yeah, right.
Actually, the computer makes the slides.
Ohio State gets a terrible, embarrassing win against Indiana. Thoughts on Ohio State?
Yeah, big win. Defense looked phenomenal. I think that was the question mark coming into this year was the defense. And I think since we've returned everybody from last year, basically, like Joel Klatt said, we're the second best team in the nation. And I think we have a serious shot at winning the national championship this year.
Yeah, they can clinch it this week. I agree.
I think I was most impressed with not only their defense, but I think J.K. Dobbins is going to be one of the top players. I think he's going to be a dark horse that not a lot of people are going to talk about, even for a Heisman. But if he keeps up putting up, almost 200 yards rushing. I mean, granted, Indiana's pretty terrible, but
that is absolutely ridiculous. You need to recant that statement right now.
You love Tom Allen, so let's relax.
Tom Allen should be fired.
I think it helps a lot too that now he has Jalen Fields as a threat to run. Like last year, he didn't have. Last year.
Well, in the past, they had like Braxton Miller and.
Yeah.
Let's not say they don't have rushing quarterbacks.
No. I'm just saying last year, I think he had his freshman year. He had a big year, and you had J.T. Barrett had to run the ball, so they didn't have to just focus on him. And now this year, like last year, he had a down year because Haskins wasn't really a threat. They only focused on Dobbins, but now they have to focus on Fields. I think it opens it up a little bit more for him.
Yep. He averaged almost 9 yards a carry, so that just tells you how spread out that defense was.
I mean, if I'm the Indiana AD, I go down and I fire Tom Allen right as he's coming off the field. That was a showing. That was the most embarrassing showing from a team I think I've ever seen. Gus Johnson. I mean, I'm sure Gus Johnson and Joe Klatt were ashamed they were calling that game. Indiana, my gosh. You look at Tom Allen. Tom Allen is the only coach that is worse than Jim Harbaugh in top 10 games. He's 0-14 now. What is Harbaugh, like 0-9 or something? So, I mean, it's embarrassing.
Here's the thing. There's a difference there because Indiana has terrible talent.
No, Indiana has more talent than Michigan. It's really unacceptable the way they play. No, it's Peyton Ramsey's a great quarterback. He just doesn't get any help. Their defense is terrible. The coaching staff sounded pretty confident coming into the game. Well, they suck and they should be fired right now.
They're making all the boxing references.
Indiana shouldn't even have a football program after this week. That's how embarrassing that loss was for them. Ohio State's the best team in the country right now. It's not even close. Just look at their point differential. You can't argue otherwise.
From an Indiana standpoint, I was a little off this week in picking Indiana. That was a tough pick.
I cannot believe you picked them.
Listen, who's first with the pick? Can't argue with that.
That is the dumbest prediction.
No, can't argue with the first play.
We will not have a dumber pick on this podcast this whole year than picking Indiana over Ohio State.
No, the worst part was his reason was that Ohio State always loses to a team that no one expects them to lose to in the Big Ten. So that's why I'm taking them.
Yeah, not in week 3. It's Indiana.
All right, Indiana
is borderline D1, D2 with that football.
All right.
Listen, Tom Allen has ran that program into the ground his first couple of years there.
No.
It's a joke. They need Kevin Wilson back.
Tom Allen is still a great coach. Indiana's a great team still, I think. Indiana's still a 7-5 football team. From an Ohio State standpoint, yeah, solid win, but you can't really say much about them because they haven't played anybody yet. So we'll see what happens.
Well, you're the one who just said Indiana's a great team, so.
Well,
So I guess according to Chris Logic, they have played a great team.
well, listen.
Not only did they play them, they blew them out.
They're playing an elite team. I know Ohio State has a cupcake schedule, but
Okay, so either, well, I mean, I feel bad for Ohio State because they're forced to schedule Michigan at the end of the season every single year. they could schedule a top 10 program in the nation like Alabama, but they can't because Michigan keeps popping up at the end of the year schedule forced by the Big Ten under this protected rivalry crap. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a joke. If I was Ohio State, I want to play Rutgers twice a year.
all right. Michigan State not only embarrasses the conference, they embarrass all of college football with their loss to Arizona State. The second straight year. What are your thoughts on the Spartans?
Yeah, a tough loss for the Spartans. Herm Edwards just has D'Antonio's number. Yeah, it's just another loss at the end of the game. They just can't be playing these close games with teams that they should be beating every year, especially when, according to some analysts, analyst might be a strong word, but that, and I quote, Michigan State's going to go 12-0 and win the national title.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
You're putting words in my mouth. I don't think I said
I wanted
that.
to bring up Mike claiming that Luarke is now a change quarterback and is a top threat.
He's second. He's second in the big.
Producing 0 points through three.
He's second in the Big Ten in passing yards.
Who cares?
But 0 points through the first 3 quarters.
Mike, how do you feel?
Not even a field goal.
Is now on the hot seat.
D'Antonio will never be on the hot seat.
He's on the hot seat.
He will never be on the hot seat.
Hotseat.com. He's on the hot seat.
He will never be on the hot seat. Our boosters aren't strong enough. They don't. Our boosters are too weak to do anything about him.
He's ahead of Brent Brennan at San Jose State. And San Jose State might be the worst program in Division I football.
No, that's ridiculous.
Well, they might be worse than Indiana.
Well, we know they're better than Stanford. So they're the best team in that area.
UCLA making a case. UCLA's making a case right now.
No,
Chip Kelly's also on the hot seat.
Chip Kelly's number 1 on hotseat.com or whatever.
Yeah.
Are you guys?
Mike, you want me to go? Or you want me to go? Or you want to go?
No, I'll go. I mean, I was going to come out here and scream about it, but, whatever. It happens. This happens to us every season. I'm used to it now. This is basically...
Yeah, you weren't used to it. You weren't used to it on Saturday when you were kicking and screaming in the group chat.
Yeah, well, I've calmed down a little bit. If this was a Big Ten game, I'd be a lot more mad about it. Let's go through the things. Play calling, probably shouldn't have rushed the field goal unit out with 4 seconds left on the play clock. Probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. It's a fireable offense, but he's not going to get fired. Trying to run the clock out with 5 minutes to go when you're on your own 5-yard line. That was pretty stupid because we can't run the ball at all. You got to trust your 5-year senior quarterback. Running with Connor Hayward at any point in the game is a bad play call. He's a terrible running back. He's good as a receiver, not very good as a running back. Don't get me started with the last 2 minutes of the game, which was a complete and utter joke. Calling all your timeouts on the 4th down, my gosh. To come up with that play, that was the worst play call of the night. Hindsight's 20/20, and I'm sure they wouldn't have called that play. But I'd rather you run an engage 8 on that play because he can't throw. Jane Daniels couldn't throw the football. The only thing he could do was run, and they let him run right for a first down. How many countless meaningless screen passes did we throw in this game that netted less than 5 yards? Put the ball in the Workey's hands and let him throw it, please. My gosh. But our offense wasn't, they weren't awful. They were actually pretty good. I mean, 404 yards of offense. Put that in perspective. The Patriots had less than 400 yards of offense this week, and they put up 46 points. So
they scored 7 points. So.
Yeah, well, 404 yards of offense. Lewerke threw for 300. The running game wasn't very good. 6 drop passes. It was the penalties that absolutely killed us. Every time we get past midfield, a stupid holding penalty would happen every single drive. And we were moving the ball pretty effectively. We only have 1 3-and-out all day, but it doesn't matter when your offensive line is garbage and your best lineman's already hurt for half the season. The defense choked. I'm not really going to talk about that.
Well, we're not going to talk about that, huh?
No, because they played their asses off for most of the game. Yeah, but there's no excuse for choking like that. We own the time of possession, so there's no excuse for choking in the fourth quarter, except for the coaches putting the defense in awful, awful situations, like not having a spy on Daniels at all when he ran for 3 straight first downs. But it comes down to the refs. The refs were absolutely awful, and of course it was a Pac-12 crew. They wanted Arizona State to win the game pretty clearly, starting with that bogus face mask penalty on the Wilkes strip sack. That was absolutely absurd. It wasn't even close. And they threw the flag after the play ended. It was awful. And then not calling the jumping the center call that Michigan gets every single season. It's ridiculous. That is
it wouldn't matter if you could just score a point.
Yeah, well... well, I mean, our kicker, who's been very, very good past couple years, he had a bad day, but that shouldn't really affect anything. He made the field goal to tie the game, and then got pretty much pushed out of his range, and he shanked it, whatever. Anyway, I mean, a lot of fluky things had to happen for us to lose this game, so I'm not 100% off the bandwagon just yet. Although D'Antonio needs to go, but I hope he retires after the year. I can't take another season of this BS. Losing 10-7, my gosh.
I want to say some little things here. Then we'll get to the bigger issue for Michigan State. Really, obviously, embarrassing the conference. That's a big one.
No, actually, we'll go into Michigan embarrassing the conference a couple slides from now.
Yeah, I know.
Embarrassing bye week. Yeah.
The Antonio rushing the kicker out there with 5 seconds on the play clock, that's ridiculous. And him having 12 guys in the field, those are both fireable offenses. That's awful. Lewerke, not good enough. Not good enough to win the game. Just embarrassing.
He was very good. Very good.
No. Did he win?
No.
Then he was embarrassing.
Yep, I mean, he was very good. He carried them on that last drive. That was all him. Put him right in range. That was a vintage Brian Lewerke moment, and it was screwed up by D'Antonio.
Coughlin? What happened with Coughlin? That's embarrassing.
He had a bad day.
Days I've ever seen a kicker have. That's awful.
Well, if you see his first miss, he was iced by his own team, actually. So he actually made the field goal, and then he tried to get and missed it. So that was that was interesting to see. So whatever. I mean, had a bad day. So many penalties. Our offensive line's we're already down to freshmen on our offensive line already this year, but it happens every year, so it's not really an excuse anymore. So, we'll see what happens.
Maybe if your coaches would start sleeping with kicking recruits, you'd get a good kicker.
Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, we have the best kicker in the country, so.
Oh, really? That's why he missed.
He was 7 for 7 coming in.
You know why he missed? Just because he was thinking back to when Harbaugh tried to sleep with him when he was recruiting.
Okay. Also, who would have thought 2 years ago that we'd be sitting here talking about Arizona State beating Michigan State 2 years in a row after certain analysts said Herm Edwards is a joke and a terrible coach.
What are you talking about?
Who said that?
Oh, certain analysts on this podcast.
What, you?
Yeah,
No.
you?
All right, and the biggest issue for Michigan State, obviously, the defense.
You can't even say it with a straight face.
It's the biggest problem. They gag in every game that is close. Every game last year that they lost.
Oh, no.
Pretty much because of the defense.
They let up 10 points in a football game. Oh,
Except
no.
for the Ohio State game, it was because of the defense. Just embarrassing.
The offense literally gave them points. What are you talking about?
4th and 14. They let the quarterback run right up the middle.
That was a coach. That wasn't the defense. That was coaching.
Nope,
that was all on the coaches.
That was this entire game. You can blame 100% on the defense. That's awful. Another gag job. This place can't trust Michigan State. Their defense is not very good. I take Michigan State's offense over Michigan State's defense because Michigan State's defense shows so much.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
You can't even say that without laughing.
No, I'm serious. All right, and we're going to skip over this slide, and we're going to move on.
As you can see, Michigan embarrassing the conference with a bye.
No.
Listen, what do you guys think about this embarrassing bye week for Michigan?
Moving on. Iowa.
Well, I really do think that, Michigan, it was embarrassing the way they performed this week. How does Michigan not win this week? It's embarrassing. And it embarrasses the Big Ten as a whole. It's a joke.
Just Chris, did Michigan win this week? No, embarrassing.
Exactly. Chris, did Shea Patterson win this week?
For the win. Did Shea Patterson win this week?
Yeah, did he win this week?
No.
He was embarrassing this week. Absolutely embarrassing.
Moving on. Iowa wins the Cyhawks in an all-time classic. 18-17 over Iowa State. Reaction.
Well, obviously it's just unfair because they had the Cyhawk close seat, and a typhoon just comes. I go to watch the game, and they're like, we're in a rain delay. How can you be in a rain delay at a football game? The absolute typhoon came in, and it cost Matt Campbell the game. That's what they're going to rename the trophy to, the Cyclone Trophy, because the cyclone just came right through.
Nope.
I was disappointed. I had Iowa State winning this game, and I just, I think the rain delay screwed everything up. I'm with you. How do you have a rain delay in football? How does that work?
No excuses.
That's my question. How does that work? Anyways, I just think it was an ugly game. I mean, the field was all just messed up. The rain played a huge part in it. And I think it's right now what Iowa wants and how they play every year was just kind of slow, kind of grinded out football, and I think that played right in their favor.
I was not.
It was a good game. It was a good game, but I was disappointed with Iowa State. I was looking forward to them winning this game.
Just terrible loss for Iowa State. Just too many mistakes that they made. If they got the ball back with how many seconds they had, whatever, Brock Purdy would have went right down the field. They would have won the game. But, of course, they had to be ruined by a terrible return game where Iowa State fumbling the ball. I'm not impressed at all with Iowa. Iowa was embarrassing this week. They almost embarrassed the conference themselves. I mean, you're playing an unranked Big 12 team, and you put up 17 points. Give me a break. That's an embarrassment. Embarrassing. Kirk Ferentz should be fired right on the spot. Even if I was the Iowa AD, I'd come down and you are
trying.
You know what I do?
The biggest rise out of me right now.
No.
You don't believe a word coming out of your mouth.
Instead of waving to the kids, I'd wave to him goodbye because he's a terrible coach.
I think a big play in this game too was the dropped interception in the end zone with about 5 minutes left. I think that was big. I mean, third and four. Nate Stanley threw an absolute meatball in the air
that they dropped.
Nate Stanley sucks. He had a terrible day.
Yeah.
He's not good at
He
all.
floated it like 20 feet over his receiver. It's embarrassing.
All right. You guys are
Listen.
all off board.
Chris, I've got Middle Tennessee this week over Iowa. I don't
Okay.
like Iowa at all.
Can we acknowledge that Middle Tennessee has the hardest schedule I've ever seen in my entire life?
Nope.
They have played a gauntlet of a schedule so far.
I'm not going to acknowledge anything. The only thing I'm acknowledging is Michigan had a terrible week, and Shea Patterson was embarrassing. That's the only thing I'm
All
acknowledging.
right, Iowa. I'm gonna give you guys a. I was gonna say my loser of the week was the Big Ten until Iowa resurrected the week and got this big win for the conference. Nate Stanley, big time performance from Nate Stanley. He was big time in the clutch, led his team on the game-winning drive. Really unbelievable. Kirk Barron's coaching him up, best coach in the Big Ten. And
right behind Tom Allen.
and Iowa proved they're the best team in the conference. They did it again.
Jesus.
Clearly proving they're the best team in the conference.
By beating an unranked 12 team like Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith is now out of the top 3 college football coaches in the Big Ten.
No, that's not true.
Well, then why do you mention three other coaches as the top coaches in the Big Ten?
What are you talking about? Kirk Barron, Tom Allen, Lovie Smith.
Unbelievable.
Can we please be serious? This is a podcast. This is very serious. A lot of people watch it. Enough with
serious.
the complete bogus analysis from you. It's ridiculous.
Can we take a minute to talk about the Illinois game?
They're going 12-0. We'll get to Illinois. We'll get to
Illinois' great loss.
Eastern Michigan, Illinois.
We'll get to Illinois. We're moving on. The other Big Ten results.
Oh, look, it's Illinois.
Illinois.
Tough loss for Maryland against Temple, 2017. Illinois with a really tough one against Eastern Michigan, 34-31. Penn State beats Pittsburgh 17-10. Minnesota embarrasses themselves in their win over Georgia Southern. Northwestern beats UNLV. TCU destroys Purdue, and Nebraska with a big win over Northern Illinois. All right, reactions to any of these games?
Yeah, the Big Ten is embarrassing, and I think we're starting to see a big divide between the top 3 or 4 teams and the rest of the conference. Because there's never been clearer between, I'll even throw Michigan State, Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan, and the rest of the Big Ten.
All right,
There's really
Wisconsin and Iowa are in that?
I'll throw Wisconsin. I won't throw
Oh,
Iowa.
not Iowa. All right, yeah.
Iowa, they're terrible.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Iowa's been very, very shaky.
Ashamed of yourself.
Very shaky.
Iowa just doesn't look
You
good
should
at
be
all.
ashamed of yourself.
Iowa State gave them the game on a silver.
Did they win?
platter.
Did they win?
They gave it to them.
Did they win?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, that's like your E-Rod. That's like your flawed E-Rod logic.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Erod podcast will be aired at another date.
I think it's early, and it's too early to say anything. Everyone was talking about Maryland, how great they were, and then they lose. It's too early. Too early.
Yeah, I was right on Maryland as usual.
Hasn't even started.
Listen, Maryland's a joke. I told you guys this was going to happen. I should have put this game on the list because Alex probably would have taken Temple too, but we would have got a huge win.
Oh, yeah.
Maryland's a joke. They do this every single year. They play a top 25 opponent, absolutely destroy them every year, and then they play an American Athletic Conference team and lose. Last year they got destroyed by Temple last year and UCF the year before. And now this year, an absolutely embarrassing loss.
Do not slander UCF like that. UCF.
Yes, of course.
Chris, can we talk about that?
We'll be getting to UCF in the pick.
Thank you. No, I think we need to talk about that.
No, we'll be getting UCF in the pick. You can make your comments then.
All right. Well, I will be making my comments because I need an apology from you.
Maryland, tough loss. Still think they're really solid. 8-4 team. Just a tough game for Illinois.
Yeah, no. Let me go into this game because this game really hits me deep right here. My guy, Chris Creighton at Eastern Michigan, he is the best coach in the state of Michigan right now, and it's not even close. What he's done with that Eastern Michigan program is unbelievable. They have no history of winning at all. Their turf is absolutely falling apart. They're in the crappy part of the state near Ann Arbor, so you know it's a crappy part of the state. No one wants to go there.
Yeah.
And what do? They beat a good Coastal Carolina team on the road. Then they play Kentucky pretty tough. And then they beat Illinois. And I called this one. I picked Eastern Michigan. Not only did they beat Illinois, they dominated this game. Illinois is a joke. Not to mention that Eastern Michigan beat Purdue last year. They are just a perennial. They are a perennial power in MAC. I've got them winning the MAC West this year. Them and Western Michigan are going to be 1-1B in the West. Two very good teams. It's embarrassing for Illinois. You can't lose to Eastern Michigan. You can't do it. What is this, Lovey's 5th year? He's still losing to Eastern Michigan? Give me a freaking break.
He needs to be fired.
No!
He's 11-28 at Illinois.
Let him get his shots in. He hasn't got his shots in yet. Let him get his shots in. He's building the program.
He's going to be 15 years in and still win 4 games a year. It's like, oh, give him a chance.
No, all right.
He's like Jeff Fisher.
Illinois.
No?
I still think Illinois is an 8-4 team. I'm going to chuck this one up.
Did you say Illinois still making the playoff? Is that what you just said?
Illinois is still an 8-4 team.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I got them going 4-8 actually.
No, 8-4.
That's generous.
I can't. I actually picked Illinois to win this game, and I still had them go 4-8. And because they lost this game, now they're going 3-9. I mean, it's absurd how terrible they are.
All right.
Penn State was way too close with Pitt. Way too close. I don't think Penn State's very good. I think Michigan State's much better. I didn't like how they played at all. Pitt was a Pat Narduzzi. What were you doing? 4th and goal on the 1, and you decide to try to kick a field goal? Not to mention your kicker misses a 17-yard field goal. That was the worst call of the night. It doesn't get any worse than that. That's worse than D'Antonio trying to rush the field goal unit out. That is absolutely embarrassing.
Well, where do you think Narduzzi gets it from?
No, Narduzzi, listen. He needs to go. He hasn't been very good at Pitt, although Pitt doesn't have much of a tradition.
They won part of the ACC last year. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they did go 7-7 last year, which is an accomplishment, to say the least. Minnesota, what a win for Minnesota. Just the resiliency. The resiliency.
Georgia Southern coming off a big win against you, man. I mean, you know they got to be good.
Exactly.
First time it was also coming off a 70-point loss to LSU.
Nope, we don't talk about that game. Listen, Minnesota's showing some really good resiliency early in the year. They should be 0-3 right now, to be honest. They should be 0-3, but they found a way to win all 3 games. Got to give them props for that. We'll see how they do starting conference play. I'm a little skeptical on them now, but listen, they did what they had to do. It's non-conference. It doesn't matter how you look. It just matters that you got a W. That's all that matters.
That's just PJ Fleck coaching them up there.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Northwestern didn't look very good against UNLV. We'll see about them. Purdue didn't have Sindelar, so throw that game out. The game doesn't mean anything. Northern Illinois, garbage, although they did play Utah pretty tough. So, whatever. Okay win for Nebraska.
Penn State sucks. Minnesota, they're an absolute disgrace. When I was picking the schedules earlier in the season, I did give them Rutgers in conference, but I'm taking that back now. Have them going 0-9 in conference. They're going 3-9. Northwestern, solid win. Purdue, they didn't have Sindelar, but they always stuck out of conference. TCU is a good team, so whatever. And Nebraska, so. All right. One winner and one loser from week 3.
Well, so I think the winner is obviously UCF. Big win over Stanford. And if they can run the table this year, they might actually get in the playoffs. Now that they have a decent win over some decent teams, they prove they can. I'm telling you.
Oh, come on, Chris. Your beloved David Shaw with a great performance on the road.
So now, that was a tough game.
He needs to be fired.
The loser has to be Georgia Tech in the ACC. Georgia Tech will lose to the Citadel. 174. Citadel is an FCS team that can only recruit military players, and it's just the ACC is an embarrassment this year, an absolute embarrassment. And then Virginia Tech was losing a Furman. That hurts too. And then Kansas beating Boston College, who was supposedly was in the running for the second best team in the conference. It's just unbelievable.
Listen, Steve Adazio needs to be fired. He's awful.
I gotta say this might piss Chris off a little bit, but this is honest. I'm with Luke. My winner is also UCF. I mean, Chris has been saying for the longest time they don't beat your teams, and they just played a very good pack.
No, they didn't. Stanford's not very good.
No, they have a great coach. They have a great coach.
They do have a great coach, but they're not very good.
Well, you say they don't play any quality opponents, and they just played Stanford.
Only did they haven't played quality opponent yet.
No, well, they played Stanford.
They played quality opponent in the Peach Bowl last year, and they got their butt whooped.
What, by considering they didn't play
last time I checked, they were up 4.
Whatever, they got destroyed by LSU.
Last time I checked,
because they didn't have their quarterback either.
LSU got tripled in yards. So.
Nope. Last time I checked, UCF got out to a 14-0 lead in that game.
Come on.
Nope, but that's all that matters. You got to win the first quarter.
Their backup quarterback, I think that's not bad.
Well, no, Chris, LSU had all their defense because they were all strength of the draft.
I would also, my loser is going to be, probably I'd have to say the Big Ten, and more specifically, Illinois. Illinois, because as Luke was saying, Georgia Tech lost to an FCS team, and losing to Eastern Michigan is basically an FCS team.
No.
Hey, on the bright side,
I think
at least the ACC I will say at least the ACC was smart enough to schedule a non-conference conference game to guarantee themselves a win.
But I think Illinois was that's embarrassing. You can't lose to Eastern Michigan.
Well, they did.
Yeah, you can because
I could also make the case for Florida State because they've just been embarrassing all year.
No, they had a great performance on the road.
Yeah, they lost to Virginia. So
I had one winner, but Luke and Alex really convinced me to have UCF as one of my winners as well. I mean, unbelievable what they've been able to do. So UCF is one of my winners. What a job they've done. Second winner is going to be the Big 12 as a whole. Really good week for them. Kansas State and Kansas. The Sunflower State really showing up. Unfortunately, Iowa State didn't show up. And Texas Tech didn't show up. But the rest of the conference really showed up pretty well. TCU played very well. Baylor got a big win over whoever the hell they played. Probably like SMU or whatever. And who else? West Virginia with a huge win over NC State. Gigantic win for West Virginia, who has really looked good this year with a great win over James Madison. My loser of the week is going to be the Pac-12 refs. They're an absolute embarrassment to the sport. The fact that the Pac-12 had to send out a statement just proves how embarrassing they are. If your refs make a mistake, you don't freaking throw them under the bus by releasing a statement that throws them under the train. I mean, that's just embarrassing. That crew should be suspended for the rest of the year. That's how embarrassing that game was officiated.
What's more embarrassing is the fact that Michigan State let them schedule Pac-12 refs for a game between the Pac-12 and the Big Ten.
Well, there were Big Ten refs in Tempe last year, so it should have been MAC refs. I know that MAC really consistent of the refs they have in games, so that crew was just absolutely awful all day long. They were terrible.
Will we be picking action games this week?
No. Yes, we will be picking one MAC game, Western Michigan. That's a big game.
Yeah, action.
My winner this week is Les Miles. Big win over Boston College. Needed that win to really the program started pretty much.
Yeah, Chris would say that a win over BC has completely turned the program around.
Yeah.
BC, another loser.
Desmond Howard.
Yeah, that should have all been our big loser. How do you lose to Kansas?
I'm going
I hope
Desmond
BC
Howard.
loses to Rutgers.
Fire Adazio.
I have to agree with Desmond Howard to pick Kansas to make a bowl now. They're a third of the way there. So
yeah, but that a big loss against Coastal Carolina. You can't ignore that.
That was a tough game.
Listen,
my loser of the week is the ACC because the ACC is a joke.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. Really in depth.
No problem.
Chris, you should just say the group of 5 every week. Your loser's the group of 5. Doesn't matter how they do.
UCF, even though they beat Alabama this week, that's still a loser.
All right. Let's move into the pick. Oh, and would you look at the standing? Interesting.
It's actually tied. It's actually tied because you lost and I won last night.
No.
Me and Alex won and you lost, so we're actually tied.
No, that pick is from this week. That pick.
I'm gonna go with the wise words of Luke. It's too early to predict anything.
No, sorry. Coming into this week, I'm in first place. Mike and Alex tied for second. Luke is
how many games? How many games back are we?
How many games back am I?
4.
Well, here's the thing. I've been picking with the spread. You guys didn't tell me that we weren't just picking straight up. I've actually been undefeated with the spread.
We'll have to get proof of that. I'm not 100% sure about that.
All right. I don't know why this picture of somebody on Oklahoma State.
It was Jalen McCluskey. He caught the touchdown pass for Tulane.
Okay.
Was I not hyping up? Was I not hyping up Jalen McCluskey the past couple of days? He comes up with the biggest play of the game.
We picked this game, Tulane over Houston. Mike and Alex took Tulane. Luke and I took Houston.
And
there you go.
And Houston covered.
Actually, no, they didn't. They didn't cover. Tulane was 5 point. Tulane was 5-point favorites and won by 7.
No,
if somebody's team name is the Green Wave, I don't know why you're picking against them. And I thought you said you didn't like Dana Holgerson over at Houston.
Dana Holgerson's a great coach.
I think he's terrible.
Yeah, Chris was not a big fan, and then he goes ahead and picks Houston.
Yeah, because
that's just being dumb.
We're gonna be honest. I didn't do research on that game. I just picked the fact that Tulane usually suck. So.
No, Tulane's really good this year. Tulane's got a really good head coach in Willie Fritz. He's done a very nice job there. They've won some big games over the past couple of years. They got a really good senior quarterback, the lefty. He's better than Tua. I'll take him over Tua any day.
Yeah, good point.
They have Jalen McCluskey, the best receiver in the country. I mean, what is there not to like about Tulane?
All right, let's move on.
If I had Houston plus 5, I would be so pissed that they let up a touchdown in the final seconds and you lose. So you lose your bet by 1 point. Tulane wins by 6, and you had Houston plus 5. Oh, I've been so pissed.
All right, Utah at USC.
Utah's 3.5-point favorite, so I'm gonna have to go USC plus 3.5.
We're not going by the spread.
Okay, sorry. Then I'm taking USC still. My upset of the week.
Upset. Okay.
I will never pick USC on this podcast.
Right?
What do you like? You like Desmond Howard picking upsets on the Superdog? Yeah, give me this team, 1.5-point underdogs. That's my Superdog of the week right there.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not picking USC. I'm picking Utah.
Very interesting game. Utah destroyed BYU, and BYU beat USC. So if I'm going by the transitive property, I got to take Utah, but I'm taking USC.
Yeah, this is the toughest game on the schedule for me, of the entire schedule to pick. But I'm looking at Utah's schedule, and man, I don't know. Give me Utah. I'm changing. I was going to go USC.
Wow.
It's Utah.
What happened with all?
I don't know if I should.
I thought you were going to have a bunch of hot takes.
To USC now that Chris took them.
No, I got to take. I'm going to take
No,
Utah.
Chris realized that if he picked USC, that'd be 3 people versus 1, and he didn't want to do that. So.
No, I just was thinking because I was thinking.
Didn't you have USC going 12-0 this year?
What?
Yeah, I do agree with it. I do remember Chris saying that, actually.
Yeah. Right.
That's your hot takes at the end of the year last year.
Yeah. Right. I was looking at Utah's schedule, and I don't see them making the playoff. But and I was thinking they need to get 2 losses. But I forgot about the Pac-12 championship game. They can have 1 loss in the regular season and still lose the Pac-12 championship game. So I'm picking them to win this game.
Yeah, they're losing to Wazoo.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
Fair enough.
All right, Michigan at Wisconsin.
Is this your hot take of the week, Chris? You said you were going to have a bunch of hot takes coming in here.
Oh, they're coming.
Michigan State, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's 3.5-point favorite. It's at what is that? Camp Randall, is that what they call it? Yeah. Wisconsin's going to win, and it's not going to be close. It's going to be so bad, Michigan's going to drop out of the rankings next week.
I also had Wisconsin winning. They haven't allowed a point this year.
Yeah, they played some really, really solid teams.
Yeah, I don't think that means much, to be honest.
110-point differential speaks for itself, and Michigan's offense looks absolutely garbage right now. So maybe I'm wrong, and maybe their offense decides to show up, but I just don't see it happening.
This is a defining game for Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. If he wins this game, everybody will be back on the bandwagon. If he loses this game, a lot of the fans will go against him, because if they lose this game, it's going to be really tough for them to have a good season. If they win this game, they'll be in pretty prime position to have a pretty solid year. I'm very curious to see what will happen. I can't even watch the game, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna take Wisconsin in a close one. I think they'll be able to run the ball pretty effectively. Michigan's been pretty beat up on the defensive line, and I mean the quarterback matchup easily. Give me Wisconsin. Much better quarterback, much better running back, better O-line, better D-line, better defense, better coach. I mean, what do you want me to say? Give me Wisconsin.
And it's at Wisconsin.
And it's at Wisconsin, yes.
Yeah, I agree with a couple of things you guys said. Michigan's offense, no, it's not going to show up. It'll be okay. And Mike, what you said about this being a prime game, I agree with that. Michigan's offense is not going to show up, but defense will. They need to win this game. This is too early in the season for them to start gagging. So I'm going to go with Michigan in this game.
Oh, Notre Dame wasn't too early last year.
Yeah, well, that was different. Notre Dame made the playoff last year. So.
Yeah, and Wisconsin's going to make the playoff this year, according to Desmond Howard.
Fair point. So I'm going to go with Michigan. Very low scoring game, maybe 17-14, something like that.
10-7, that sounds familiar, Mike.
I'm going 10-9 Wisconsin.
Oh, my 10-9 pick is coming.
2-0,
actually.
2-0.
So
all right.
it'll be
Michigan State
6-1 Wisconsin. A 1-point safety. I'm going with the 1-point safety. It's going to happen this week. 6-1.
Michigan State at Northwestern.
It's at Northwestern. Tough place to play.
It'll be a Michigan State home game.
Michigan State's 9-point favorites, so I'm going to go with Michigan State.
You know, I thought 9 was the over/under. Yeah, but no, that's the point spread apparently.
I wonder what the over/under is.
It's 38. Last time I checked.
37.
37. Oh, okay.
62% of people have taken the under.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
I got a big bounce back week for Michigan State. I think they're going to blow out Northwestern.
Wait, Luke, who'd you pick?
I took Michigan State.
That's a great pick. I like Michigan State in a blowout, and it's going to be a Michigan State style of blowout. I'm going to go 17-3 Michigan State.
This is a tough one for me. Looking at the history of the last few years, Michigan State has really struggled with Northwestern in the past, and
they don't have Clayton Thorson. Clayton Thorson was the Spartan killer.
I think it's going to continue. I'm going to go with 10-9 Northwestern.
What is that? 4 straight 10-9 predictions.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
going to come through one time. All right. No clue why this game is on here. Just no reason for this to be on here. Western Michigan and Syracuse.
This is 2 very evenly matched teams.
Let me find the line. What time's the game at?
12 Eastern on ACC Network.
Western Michigan, Syracuse. Syracuse is 4.5-point favorite. Western Michigan's a good team, though. But I'm going to have to go with Syracuse. It's in the Carrier Dome.
That doesn't mean anything. They have terrible fans at Syracuse.
Syracuse. What are you talking about? They got Alex Austin.
Exactly. Terrible fan base.
Well, for any team that gives up 51 points to Michigan State, I'm not picking them, so I'm going to go with Syracuse.
This is going to be a absolute shootout. We got 2 of the worst defenses in the country going at each other. But give me the better coach, Tim Lester. Give me the better quarterback, John Wasink. Give me the Broncos, 69-65.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Syracuse in an absolute, utter blowout for the ages. Couple of reasons here. First of all, Western Michigan sucks.
No, because they're a group of 5 teams.
No.
Second of all, Syracuse is a
Chris,
Power 5
we
team,
have to
and
look.
Western Michigan
We
sucks.
have to look at the transitive property. Western Michigan, 50-point win over Georgia State. Georgia State defeated Tennessee. That just proves Western Michigan's better than Tennessee.
Okay,
That just proves Western Michigan would win the SEC.
I mean, I could take 11 ships and they'd play better. They could beat Tennessee on the football field.
Nope. Tennessee's a good football team.
Luke, I think the whatever football team you guys could create at your school would probably be better. That probably play football.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, Tennessee's tied for second in the SEC East right now, so they're doing well so far.
Okay. California at Ole Miss.
Oh, Cal's going to win. Cal has a shutdown defense. They're 2.5-point underdogs. It's at Ole Miss, I think, right? It's at Ole Miss? Yeah. Yeah, but Cal's going to win. Cal was my sleeper team coming into this year, and I think they're going to win the Pac-12 North, and they're going to win the Pac-12. Cal.
All right.
Well, Ole Miss is coming off a riveting 11-point win over Southeastern Louisiana. So I'm going to have to pick Cal and go on a win there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ole Miss, never trust a man with 2 first names. Matt Luke is a terrible coach. He's got a bad program right now. They suck. Cal's decent. Great coach, Justin Wilcox. Once he left Wisconsin, they didn't do crap once he left. I'm going to take Cal 17-0.
This is another really tough one. I like what Cal's done this season, but I think at some point talent catches up with you. And, the SEC just means more, right? I'm taking Ole Miss.
Not when you have a man with 2 first names as your coach.
I'm taking Ole Miss. Okay. UCF.
Is this the best team in the country pictured right here?
Yeah, what? Pitt?
Yeah.
I would like Chris to give a public apology about trashing UCF. And they play a Power 5 team and they blow them out of the water.
Why do you ask for an apology every time UCF beats a bad team?
All you say is how shitty they are.
They are.
Well, Chris, you always
They beat good teams and you still won't admit to it.
Chris, you
No, they haven't.
Chris, you always criticize their schedule, but every good team they schedule turns to crap when they play them. Every single one.
That's their fault. They should be able to know that.
Well, they do schedule out-of-conference Power 5 games, and they win, and you still don't say that they're good.
Yeah, what? Pitt? They schedule Pitt out of conference? Wow.
No, they just beat Stanford.
Then they schedule like Clemson or Alabama.
They tried to schedule Florida, but they wouldn't let them.
Alabama's scared. Alabama won't scared. It's scared. They won't play them. Nick Saban knows. He's smart enough.
The jump house. Everybody's afraid to go there.
Who do you got in this game?
UCF by a landslide. UCF is 11-point favorites. I think they're going to win by more than 11. It's going to be like 40-20.
I actually think this game's going to be very close. I really like what Pat Narduzzi's done with that defense. Really improved from last season.
You were just saying Jeff that is awful. 20 minutes ago, you were saying he's shit. He has to go. Now you're saying he's done great things.
Listen, hear me out. Pat Narduzzi's a defensive guy. They only gave up 17 points to Penn State. I got UCF winning. Listen,
down 4th and goal with less than 2 minutes. Kick the field goal.
listen. Bad decision, but Pat's going to come back and he's going to have his team ready to go. Give me UCF like 27-24. It's going to be a close game.
Is it going to be a missed field goal by Pitt again?
No, they're going to go for it on 4th and 13 when they have a tying field goal from like 33 yards. And then Narduzzi.
Three timeouts.
Yep.
Timeouts, down 4.
Yep. Narduzzi's going to go into the post game and said, last week you criticized me for kicking the field goal. Then we try to be aggressive, and now you hate me? What the hell? What do you want from me?
I'm going to differ a little bit from you guys. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh because they're a Power 5 team.
So I'm making up at least a game here.
Like Mike said about Pat Narduzzi, they do one thing and then you criticize it, and they do the opposite of what you want. They do what you want them to do, and then you still criticize. Oh, they play nobody and win, so let them play a Power 5, and then they play a Power 5 and they still win, and you're still unhappy.
Doesn't mean, Pittsburgh's going to win in the better team.
I mean, Chris, they can't schedule Alabama. Alabama's already got 12 conference games. They have to play the Citadel every year. They got to play Furman every year. I mean, there's no opportunity for UCF to play.
They have to play Mercer.
Exactly. Mercer played a half SEC schedule last year.
They might as well. They play more SEC games than LSU.
Exactly. They play 12 SEC games every year.
All right, Washington at BYU.
What time is the game? That's always a big factor. 3:30. It's always a big factor who's going to win. Washington, BYU out west, 3:30, but they're in Mountain West time, so it might as well be 1:30. Washington 6.5-point favorites. This is going to be a good game. BYU is a good team. It's in the mountains. I don't think Washington's going to be able to handle the light air. BYU. I'm going to go with BYU. I'm with Luke. This is my upset of the week. I'm picking BYU.
Talk about gauntlet of a schedule. BYU's got a gauntlet. They had to go to Tennessee. That's a tough place to play. They had to play Utah the first game, Tennessee, then they played USC. Now they got Washington. Really tough start of the year for BYU. I think they'll lose. I got Washington winning. Washington did very well last week against Hawaii. Hawaii, who beat 2 straight Pac-12 teams, and they just absolutely dismantled them. So give me BYU, give me Washington.
Yeah, I'm going to take Washington too. A lot more talent, and they're not going to lose 2 games this early in the season. Especially if they're not going to fall asleep on the field like you did in that Cal game. So, take Washington.
Well, BYU's a Power 5 team, Chris.
Exactly.
Pretty much. All right. Huge game. Huge game. Auburn at Texas A&M with Carter Blackburn on the call. What do you got?
Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, this game means nothing.
What is it? Yeah, Auburn and who? Texas A&M. I honestly flip a fucking coin for me. I'll go with Auburn.
Well, this is Chris's wettest dream right there, Jimbo Fisher and Auburn playing. So, I'm going to take A&M just because they're the home team. And I don't like Gus Malzahn.
Make sure Chris changes his pants while he's watching this game.
Imagine if Stidham was playing, my God. Jeez.
Oh, this is.
Jared Stidham against the great Jimbo Fisher. I don't know what Chris is doing.
I think Jimbo Fisher might be the worst coach in Power 5. He is awful. He won. The only time he won was when he had all those great assistants. And once they all left, the Florida State went to crap. Now he hasn't done anything at Texas A&M.
No, this year's winning a national championship. What are you talking about?
He won a national championship with Bobby Bowden's recruits. Very close game. I wouldn't be shocked if either team won. I'm going to take Texas A&M because I don't think Auburn's very good. Actually, no, I'm taking Auburn because Texas A&M isn't very good. 2 not very good teams going at it.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. 2 great teams going at it here. Gus Malzahn, what a coach. Nick, what a quarterback. But we'll have to be able to overcome Jimbo Fisher, top 3 coach in the country. Kellen Mond, great quarterback. Texas A&M.
Kellen Mond can't hit an open receiver?
What?
Kellen Mond who can't hit an open receiver? That one?
No, not him. Wrong person. Texas A&M, toughest place to play in the country. Give me the Aggies. On their way to a national championship this year.
Listen, you want to take the Aggies, or you can take New Mexico State, because that's the real Aggies. These are the fake Aggies.
We'll see about them. We'll see. Okay. The real Miami at Ohio State.
Ohio State by 1 million.
The U is not bad. I'm going to take Ohio State because Miami's just trash.
Very interesting game. As you can see, I have Gunnar Hoke pictured right there. I think Gunnar Hoke's the best quarterback in this game, easily. Much better than Justin Fields. It's not even close.
He did go 1 for 1 last game. I'll give him some credit.
Yeah, very good. Very solid quarterback. Miami of Ohio, really, really solid program they've built there. Just amazing. Unbelievable the amount of success they've had. They will challenge Ohio State. But I think Ohio State will pull it out, maybe a field goal at the end. I'm going 19-16 Ohio State.
Even though Miami is the best team in Ohio, I'm taking Ohio State by 8. Okay, let's move on.
What are you talking about? What about Mount Union?
Yeah,
They're the 3rd best team in Ohio.
Well, Mount Union's not a Power 5 team, so Chris doesn't like them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Kentucky at Mississippi State.
Would you say Fresno State against Sacramento State?
Not quite.
Oh, sorry. East Carolina, Willie Fritz. East Carolina's 11.5-point favorite.
Did you say so? East Carolina's going on the road to play an FCS team. Is that what you just said?
No. It's not East Carolina.
Oh, that would be amazing.
They opened as 11.5-point favorites. Now they're 12-point favorites. I'm going to go with East Carolina.
Oh my God!
Is that against the spread or is that just picking the game?
Yep, breaking news here at the Big Four podcast. Former Central Michigan receiver Antonio Brown has been released by the Patriots.
Okay, this is a college football podcast. Do you realize that?
Okay, he went to
Please be professional, Chris.
He went to Central Michigan, the best team in Michigan.
But
Yep, Jim McElwain.
Chris, Central Michigan is a FCS school, a non-Power 5 school.
Listen, Oakland's football program's on the come up. Watch out for them.
Okay, anybody else want to pick this game?
Yeah.
What's the game? Let's go. What's the game?
Kentucky at Mississippi State.
I'm gonna take Mississippi State.
Mississippi State's 6-point favorites. Oh, yeah, I'll take Mississippi State.
I'm actually going to take Kentucky. I don't really like Mississippi State. I just don't think they're a good team, and, I'm going to take Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky always finds a way to choke.
Well, Mississippi State is not good, so...
No, they're very good. They just lost to a better Kansas State team last week.
Yeah. If you lose to any team in the state of Kansas, you're terrible.
No? What about Wichita State's football program is very good also. And what about Drake?
Oh, that's true. How could I forget?
I'm taking Mississippi State because Kentucky sucks.
No. Chris,
Good reasoning.
Chris, Kentucky beat Eastern Michigan by 17. Eastern Michigan beat Illinois.
Well, the transitive property doesn't work here. It only works when I apply it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
That seems fair.
All right. New Mexico State and New Mexico.
Oh, biggest game of the week
Oh, my
right
God.
here. Big rivalry game.
Isn't New Mexico State the team that hasn't made a bowl in 80 years? Don't they have the longest bowl streak?
Oh,
ever?
probably.
Yeah, I'm going to New Mexico. They're 4.5-point favorites though. It's a close game.
New Mexico coming off a tough loss to Notre Dame. I'm going to have to take New Mexico, though, because New Mexico State is just god-awful. They did play Alabama tough, though. They only lost by 52.
Listen, New Mexico State's had a gauntlet of a schedule. They played Washington State and Alabama to start the season. Very good coach in Doug Martin, not the Tampa Bay running back, the other Doug Martin. New Mexico, the longtime veteran coach Bob Davie, very solid program he's built in New Mexico. Unfortunately, I don't even know if he'll be coaching this game. He's been having some health issues. But man, New Mexico's a really good football team. Mexico State, usually these two teams play twice a year. They only play once a year this year. I'm going to take New Mexico to win the game.
Well, I was doing some research on this game, and I discovered that New Mexico State is 3-1 in their last 4 games against New Mexico. So I'm taking New Mexico State.
Well, that's some deep research.
Yeah. Okay. Oregon at Stanford.
Two terrible football teams.
Oregon, because of their quarterback.
Yep. Oregon, because Stanford's coming off a reeling loss to UCF. So.
My gosh, Stanford's a terrible football team. So they beat a not very good Northwestern team. Knock on wood. And they gave up 45 and lost USC, but everybody's like, okay, once their quarterback comes back, they'll be fine. Then he comes back and they get absolutely destroyed. So KJ Costello doesn't mean crap. Herbert's all right. If it's close, Oregon will choke this game away, but I don't think it'll be very close. I'm going to take Oregon. But if it does get close, don't be shocked if they find a way to hand the game to Stanford.
Man, I like what Mike said about the game being close. I think Stanford hangs around and Oregon hands in the game at the end. I'll take Stanford.
Good pick, Chris.
All right, Oklahoma State at Texas.
Oh, game of the week right here.
This is a big game. Mike Gundy, what a coach, one of the best coaches in the country.
Listen, him and Pat Narduzzi are 1A, 1B for me. That's best coaches in the country.
Mike Gundy is a top 10 coach. But Texas 6.5-point favorite. But I don't think God's on their side because of Tom Herman going to all these strip clubs. She knows why. not a good Texas. So I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma State.
Well, I don't know if God's on Oklahoma State's side. I mean, the rant is still going against Mike Gundy all these years later.
Nope, because Blake Shelton's from Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's God's country, Mike.
Oh, fair enough.
Well, I'm taking Texas because I don't like Oklahoma State. Even though Mike Gundy is a top 5 coach, I would pick Texas.
Did you know Oklahoma State has the number 1 rusher in Chuba Hubbard, the redshirt sophomore from Canada? And
hey, Mike, you got to pick up and win the Heisman like you did. What's his face, the other running back there?
Justice Hill is doing pretty well in my Madden franchise right now with the Ravens. And they also have Oklahoma State also has the number 1 receiver in Tylan Wallace. Tylan Wallace is an absolute beast. This offense can't be stopped. Texas is a terrible defense. And Oklahoma State's won 4 straight times in Austin, Texas. I'm taking Oklahoma State.
I'm going to take Texas because I have too many upsets to take Oklahoma State as I have another one.
Embarrassing. That's a terrible pick. This is the one game you should have picked. This is the one upset you should have picked.
Well, I'm not.
It's not even an upset. Oklahoma State's the better team.
All right.
What's the spread on that game?
Oklahoma State, Texas.
Yeah.
Texas is 6.5-point.
Interesting.
These are all the Westgate Superbook.
Ooh, Westgate. Interesting. I'm more of a Northgate guy. More of a Northgate Shaw's guy.
Yeah, I'm a big Northgate guy. Yeah, I love Northgate. Nothing better.
Listen, you compared all the gates. I think Northgate's the best. I mean, Westgate's all right. Is there even an Eastgate? I don't know about Eastgate. All right.
What's the next game? Nebraska at Illinois.
Why is this even a question?
They're 13-point favorites, so.
This isn't even a question. I would take Nebraska if all of their players lost their left arm. I would still take Nebraska.
You're all picking Nebraska, huh?
Yep. Illinois.
Not so fast.
No, wait. Let me explain. I mean, Illinois, I think 13 points is a lot, but I think Nebraska will cover. I don't think Illinois, 12 o'clock game it's an 8 o'clock game. It doesn't really help Illinois at all.
Time, Brandon Peters.
Brandon Peters was terrible last week.
We know Brandon Peters is a primetime quarterback.
Yeah, that's why he played. That's why he played extremely well in the bowl game a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Illinois is going to win this game handily. Nebraska's not good. Illinois is a.
You don't even believe that, do you?
Give me the Illini.
Jesus.
Okay. Notre Dame at Georgia.
Oh God, this is what's the line of the game?
This is my upset of the week. I'm taking Georgia.
5.
Well, man. Okay, well, Georgia's 14.5-point favorite.
Nope. In the Northgate, Northgate has Notre Dame as favorites. I went up to
Georgia.
Went up to Shaw's the other day, and they had Notre Dame as a favorite.
Yeah, I'm going Georgia.
I'm going to go Georgia because I've never been a fan of Notre Dame. I don't care who they are.
I'm sorry, before I pick this game, can we just point out that they are 14.5-point favorites?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Notre Dame?
That's the safest bet of the week is to bet Notre Dame there on the spread wise. That's awful. 14.5 points.
Okay, why don't you make your own book? Go ahead.
13-point Nebraska. You have no problem picking Illinois.
And I'm not going to take Notre Dame in this game. I think they're the better football team.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Dude, Notre Dame gets ranked for no reason.
I am first in the standings. I cannot be made fun of for my pick.
You're tied for first now.
I can't wait till next week when you're not in first, and then we can just roast the hell out of you for your terrible pick.
Georgia will not win this game. Georgia's going to lose this game, and they're going to lose to Texas A&M. Those will be their 2 losses.
All right, well, that's booked. Whenever that game comes, we will have Chris picking A&M.
Yep. So I'm going to take Notre Dame. And Brian Kelly's a better coach than Kirby Smart.
Those last two.
Well, Georgia's let up 23 points all season.
Didn't play anybody.
Those last 2 picks are so absurd. I can't even say anything.
They both have.
He rants about taking the safe pick with the spread, and then the game before he picks way against the spread. That makes sense, Chris.
All right. Okay. Last game here: Colorado at Arizona State.
Central Arkansas, Hawaii. Hawaii's 14-point favorite. It's Hawaii, 12 a.m. on Sunday. I'm going to have to go with, what is Arizona State is 8.5-point favorite? No, they're going to have the letdown after that big win. Colorado.
Actually, a fun fact, did you know that Hawaii can't start their games past 12 o'clock because you can't play college football on Sunday, so they start them at 11:59. Fun fact of the day. I'm taking Central Arkansas.
No, I'm expecting, like Luke said, a letdown from Arizona State. I don't trust them. And I'm expecting a big bounce back from Colorado after that embarrassing loss to Colorado.
Listen, I disagree.
Or to Air Force. Sorry.
Arizona State's defense is for real. They're really good. Give me Arizona State in a blowout.
You can say whatever you want about Arizona State and their letdown. Maybe that's true. But we saw the beginning of the Colorado collapse last week, and that's going to continue. I'm taking Arizona State.
Yeah, Colorado's going to start. Colorado started 2-0. They're going to lose their next 10 this year.
Yeah. Last year was it like 5-0, and they finished 5-7.
Yeah, 5-0. Chris said they would make the playoff, and then they lost 7 straight.
Not say that.
Yes, you did. Chris said every top 25 team at one point would make the playoff.
Oh, I said Texas Tech and Iowa.
Texas Tech. Well, Texas Tech didn't make a bowl either.
Well, they should have.
Iowa really worked out well, huh, Chris?
Well, Iowa had some tough calls go against them. Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for watching. We will see you maybe in a couple days with the recap of this week in college football. Thanks for watching.